Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we have a lot to talk about regarding Ripple and XRP, as well as the vast majority of crypto and finance. And I figured I would start off this video talking about Web 1, 2, and ultimately 3. So currently speaking, we are still in a Web 2.0, and the overall market cap for Web 2.0 is roughly about $20.1 trillion. Now, basing this off of the last overall growth of a Web 1 to Web 2, it did roughly about a 7x opportunity run. Now, if we are looking at this, and if we are looking at the potential market cap size of Web 3.0, this is sitting at about roughly $139.3 trillion. Now, remember, as we do look at Web 3, there's a lot tied to this. We talk about digitization, tokenization. There's a lot around this. Now, to me personally, do I think that $140 trillion is our stopping point at all for Web 3? Absolutely not. I think that the sky is ultimately the limit here. I mean, you got to think about it like this. Like, you could tokenize debt, you could tokenize, bonds, equities, anything of value. So, you got to think about everything on the planet that has a value tied to it that will ultimately be, at some point in time, in my opinion, tokenized. So think about the overall vast size of Web 3.0 and the overall potential valuation that we could put on it. It truly is incredible. Now, as we do look at this, the reason why I bring up Web 3 and the reason why I believe that Web 3 will be very large is because you have names like SBI. So SBI has been a name that we've been focused on for so long around Ripple because they have been one of the largest investors into Ripple, but also they have been a very large customer of Ripple's in the past. And what do you see over here from Wrath of Kahneman? SBI Japan, a Ripple partner, released its investor report for the year. While news of Ripple and XRP has slowed, this charts their new approach. One, all crypto efforts centered in SBI VC trade, and two, they are looking towards Web 3 more than exchange sales. What do you see down here? To point out the obvious, Ripple is shown on the left as offering services using XRP and XRP Ledger. What services? On the right, on-demand liquidity is listed running through SBI VC Remit. And here we have the overall image. SBI VC Trade will increase its customer and revenue base not only by the crypto asset exchange business, but also by strengthening Web3 related business. And we do see a few things here. Excuse me. So first off, we do see that there's more than 550 institutional clients here. This is B2C. A lot of stuff here. I mean, honestly, as you do look at what's happening around this space, it's great to center out on names like SBI, for an example, that has connections to massive amounts of institutional clients. Because again, if you have been following all of, the news around Ripple for the past couple years and even going back, well over a decade now, you could tell that institutions are extremely, and I mean extremely excited to utilize this technology because they do see the overall benefit here. But as we do see Ripple over here, yeah, we do see offering services using XRP and the XRP Ledger. Then over here, we do see international remittance using on-demand liquidity. We know that the use case potential here is extremely vast for XRP, even outside of the scope of Ripple with on-demand liquidity. We know that the XRP Ledger is continuously expanding day by day. A lot of developments happening on the XRP Ledger as well. We are seeing DeFi being an opportunity, tokenization. I mean, there's a lot here. But to me, as we do look at Web3 and we look at the names like SBI that has connections to 550 plus institutional clients, it's clear to me that the future around Web3 is going to be very large. And I can't put a full on valuation on it. We can definitely go off of like the 7x return, from Web 1 to Web 2 and ultimately, value Web 3 off of that. But I still think that this could very well be much larger than what anyone can anticipate because this is a full on evolution of the entire financial system before our eyes. And, every single sector, every single industry will be touched by this. And what do you see over here? Digital Pound Foundation, Ripple has been selected to showcase a real estate asset tokenization solution as part of the Hong Kong Monetary Authority's HKMA inaugural EHKD pilot program, Hong Kong dollar pilot program. Now, when we look into this, yes, there's a lot tied to this. And yes, I did include it in my past 2 videos on XRP. But as we do look at this breakdown, what I wanted to go and look at is going all the way back to November of last year, actually. Utility-based NFTs solving real-world problems in real estate. So this was an article that they posted over on their website. And if we do scroll down, we do see in early February of this year, Leslie Alessandra sold a home in Gulfport, Florida for about $654,000. That sale made real estate history as the first home sold as an NFT on a blockchain in the US. The home and other properties that have since then been sold as NFTs and paid for in cryptocurrency all herald a sea change coming to the real estate industry. Like other assets that have been tokenized as NFTs on the blockchain, art, season tickets, carbon credits, and more, real estate NFTs are gaining traction because they solve real-world challenges like process efficiency and transparency of ownership confirmation. But you got to remember that, tied to this, tokenizing real estate has a lot more benefits as well. I always bring up the idea of an apartment building. So say for so the apartment building is $10 million. It's very hard to sell that apartment building to just one investor because they would have to have $10 million. But imagine you sold 10% stake in that apartment building to 10 different individuals for $1 million each. That's a lot easier to do, and you have fractionalized ownership as well. And all of those individuals own 10% of the profits for that apartment building. That's the future of tokenization for real estate. Fractionalization is a huge deal, and it also opens up a vast amount of liquidity for the real estate market, which is a big problem because real estate is an illiquid asset class. This is also a $300 trillion global asset class, and again, all of the things that we do see here are centered out on XRP and the XRP ledger. Real estate NFTs on the XRP ledger. The world of real estate can be complex, and anyone who has bought, sold, and or rented a home knows that it can be extremely tedious process, especially for those of us that aren't well versed in the jargon and other ins and outs of the industry. In an effort to simplify the home buying, selling, and renting experience, Ripple partner Proper Home will leverage the XRP ledger to create and distribute NFTs that will represent property ownership. So as we do look at this, I really think that NFTs on the XRP ledger are going to be very, very large. I think that real estate itself is going to be very large for the XRP ledger. But also when we look into this, yes, real estate is a global $300 trillion plus asset class. If we are talking about tokenization, if we are talking about the overall valuation here, it's going to be very, very large. But in part with this, we also looked at Medico, right? So shout out to XRP Darren over on Twitter, Fame21More. He posted this image, and this is actually talking about Medico. So the Medico news was definitely large, and we actually talked about it a little bit, but it seems as though we found out a little bit more around the situation. In fact, I did a little bit of a deep dive in on Medico, but now we have other individuals doing some great work. And again, XRP Darren is one that has been doing a ton of work around the space for so long. Incredible individual, especially around research. So definitely go check him out over on YouTube as well as on Twitter. But we do see, however, it is asset tokenization, which is eliciting the most excitement in the banking world through tokenization assets, including regulated traditional securities, equities, bonds, and illiquid financial instruments. Like I said, real estate, private equity funds, commodities, fine wines, etc., can be digitized and fractionalized on a DLT, making them cheaper for retail investors to acquire. Not only will this democratize investment, but it could help shore up liquidity in what are very illiquid markets. And we do see down here that according to Catherine Guay-Chenard, I hope that I'm saying that name right, subject matter expert at Medico, the market capitalization of tokenized assets is expected to skyrocket to more than $20 trillion in the next few years and could potentially even exceed $350 trillion plus in the longer term. Now, again, as I've said, one asset class, real estate, is worth $300 trillion globally. So as we do look at the overall valuation here, yeah, I do think that we could very well see a lot of money poured into crypto. And it will seem like it's overnight, but it's really not. Again, this space moves very, very, very fast. But I do think that as we do look at the capitalization here around tokenization, it could be very, very large. We've seen a lot of articles come out and actually talked about this. in scope, but all of them don't really gauge the idea of where it could really go. In fact, all of them are a little bit diverse on their value. For example, Citi expects $4 trillion in value of tokenized assets by 2030. We've seen also tokenization of assets could reach $5 trillion by 2030. This was from Citi as well. Like, Citi has jumped around on $4 to $5 trillion for a while, but then also we did see tokenization of illiquid assets to reach $16 trillion by 2030. This got posted 8 months ago, actually. This is from Boston Consulting Group, BCG. Again, like, as we do look at these illiquid assets, it's questionable on where we could go. But to me personally, as we look at real estate, I think that real estate is going to be a big one to really kind of focus on. But also, there's a lot of areas around the world that have been really kind of looking out on the idea of tokenization. And what they've been doing is actually creating a lot of regulatory frameworks regarding them, because they do see the overall benefit of asset tokenization, especially around real estate. Like, real estate is the one that I've been focused on for so long, because it really is a ripe for disruption market, especially for tokenization. We do see over here from Denton's website, the tokenization of real estate, an introduction to fractional real estate investments. So if we do scroll down here, we do see the benefits of real estate tokenization. 1, lower barrier to entry. 2, ability to create liquidity. And 3, lower transactional cost. Now, the big major deal around all of this is the fact that, yes, all of these are significant efficiencies to the real estate game. If you are talking about, the major benefits of tokenization, the biggest problem, though, is the fact that we need to get around the obstacles stopping this from being a reality, which are securities laws, implications, and reconciliation with the land registries. Once we get over these two, again, I think that this second one is pretty easy to get over. The first one, though, the securities laws implications, that's going to be a big one, because we're seeing a lot of problems arise around regulations. But as I said, like, there's a lot of areas around the world that are really kind of further in their regulatory frameworks on this, because they do see the value here. But it's going to take some time. So that's why I say, like, although, yes, there's a lot of valuations here to look at, 16 trillion, 5 trillion, 4 trillion. Then we have $20 trillion in the next few years, and potentially could exceed 350 trillion plus in the longer term. I think initially on, yes, we will see a lot of money pour in. It could be in the tens of trillions of dollars. Long term, yes, we will see hundreds of trillions of dollars, but it's not going to happen overnight. It could very well seem like it will, but it's not going to. Long term, I could see hundreds of trillions. Short term, yes, I could see tens of trillions, but that tens of trillions is not going to happen immediately. It's going to happen over the next course, I would say, like 5 to 10 years probably. So there is a lot tied to this. There's a lot, riding in on this. But to me personally, we are starting to see a lot of things happening around the tokenization game, going all the way back to just yesterday alone. World Bank turns to blockchain for tokenizing infrastructure process amid regulatory challenges. So although there's a lot of regulatory issues here, we still are seeing the World Bank, which is a leading organization, now looking at blockchain technology for tokenization for infrastructural projects, actually. So this is a big deal. And as we do look at what's happening around tokenization, like, this is the big area of focus right now, because this to me is something that could be adopted in tomorrow. Tokenization is big. We're already starting to see it, and it's becoming a reality. Whether people want to see it or not, if you can get behind this, then you will reap the benefits and the rewards. But, as we do look at what's happening around this space, I think that we are starting to see a big shift towards, major adoption of utility-driven processes, tokenization, digitization, digitizing workflows. Like, these are the big areas of opportunity, because these are disrupting, ripe for disruption, markets and industries. And again, like, this is why I wanted to focus on real estate so much, is because real estate is a market that demands, and I truly say, like it demands disruption, because for so long, the real estate market has been riding out on illiquidity, as well as, it's a big problem with buyers and sellers, because you don't have fractionalization. So the barrier to entry is extremely large. But then also there's a lot of other issues tied to it. So as we do look at, like, transparency around, the real estate market, Tokenization could ultimately bring in transparency as well. It can make the entire process a lot more smoother, lower the major cost tied to it as well. Like, there's a lot of incredible efficiencies here when you look at tokenization. And, again, everyone is focused out on everything around like Ripple and just what Ripple's doing with like cross-border payments. But I think everyone should also be focused on what Ripple's doing with these utility-based NFTs around like the real estate market, because, everyone was looking at, oh, well, this is a CBDC use case with this, announcement, but also like the real estate game is a big area. It's a huge area. In fact, it's twice the value of cross-border payments, for an example. So you could probably wonder why I'm so excited about this, because just a few percent of that market disrupted for Ripple utilizing the XRP ledger, well, that could create a massive amount of value coming over to the XRP ledger as well. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join me for Discord in the description below. This is up to you all. Have a beautiful day or beautiful night wherever you guys are on this. Before this has been Nick. Peace out, guys.